Hey, it's Mark Lynn here with your video thought for the day. So this week I'm kind of doing, I don't know, what would you call it? Maybe anti-songs. And I don't mean that I'm anti-music. What I mean by that are I've done songs before that make you want to, put on your headphones and listen in and sing along and change your life and make you feel good about things, or good worship songs or hymns. I've talked about those in lots of video thoughts for the day, but this week I'm doing it a little different. I'm finding songs that sing of problems and issues or a perspective that is different than what we have as a Christian or a God believer, a Jew or a Christian in this sense would see this the same way, I think. And that's the challenge behind the songs that I'm selecting this week in my video thought for the day. So this is one that came on the radio. It's not one that I was ever a big fan of. I didn't really follow this artist that much. Just wasn't my cup of tea. Nothing personal against the artist. If the artist happens to be watching this on YouTube early one morning or late one night, sorry. This is how I feel. This is how I think. The name of the song is Material Girl, and the artist is Madonna. And the mantra that she sings over and over in this song is that we're living in a material world and I'm a material girl. And that mantra is sung over and over and over. And the song's about, different boys and what her interests may or may not be in those boys. And ultimately it winds up being, how much money does the boy bring to the table? Because as she says, everybody's living in a material world and she's a material girl. And that mantra goes on and on and on with quite a catchy little hook to it. Now, yeah, in some ways, this is a material world. I mean, we've seen the materialization of even holidays like Christmas that aren't designed to be a material holiday, but they've become that. We've seen how so much of this world is a world of gimme, 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 or I want, or get. And so Madonna comes by those lyrics honestly, I guess is the right way to say it. But biblically, that is not the way we should live, even though the Bible does recognize that's the way the world is. So you've got passages like John 15:19, where Jesus says, if you were of the world would love you as its own, but you're not of the world, so the world's not going to be too fond of you. And anytime we preach something contrary to the materialism of that, there are a lot of people who just think we're fools for what we say. This is an important concept. Paul in Romans 12 verse 2 said, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. That by testing you can discern what the will of God is and what's good and acceptable and perfect. And the point that Paul's driving is, we may be living in a material world, but we don't have to be the material girl or boy. We don't have to be materialistic ourselves. We may live in as Jesus said, don't be, you'll be in the world, but don't be of the world. We live different. That's why we should be like a bright light on a hill that's a beacon at night. People should be able to see a difference in us. This idea of don't be conformed, but be transformed, be changed by the renewing of your mind. We need to flee the concept of being just like everybody else, living for the next material thing. And we need to be living instead for a much, much higher calling. And that is the will of God, the kingdom of God. Those things that are good and acceptable and even perfect. That's where we'll find happiness. That's where we'll find joy. That's where we'll find peace. That's where we'll find contentment. Not in being a material girl. Another song tomorrow, but this is your video thought for today.